Hey everyone, it's Stuart here, and I have got the most fantastic video for you to watch today. It's my sales veteran dad, Peter Macadam, who has done business in over 70 countries on 6 continents, revealing the most shocking sales mistakes that he has seen in his business career. This is a must-watch video if you are a business that generates leads that you want to turn into sales. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do need professional help with sales training, make sure to head over to Peter's website, developmorebusiness.com. I'll include a link to that in the description box below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
Let's look at some of the most common mistakes that sales and business development people make in their careers. Now, these mistakes happen before they even meet with customers, while they're meeting with customers, and after they have met with customers. So if you're a business owner, a manager, a salesperson, or a business development person, listen up. I'm going to teach you all the things that you need to avoid when you're dealing with customers before you meet with them, while you're meeting with them, and after you have met with them. If you can avoid these mistakes, there's a good chance that you are going to conclude some business. One of the most common mistakes made is before salespeople or business development people even meet with customers is not scoping the right fit of customer for your product or the service that you have and that you want to sell. Now, if you don't have the right customer that you're meeting with, the chances are you're wasting a lot of time and a lot of energy, and you're just not going to do the deal. Simple as that. So when you're looking at a particular market and the segments within the market, make sure you choose the right segment for your product or your service. And once you choose the right segment, make sure that you choose the right customers within that segment. Another common mistake that's made is not to prepare properly for meeting with a customer. Now, when you meet with a customer for the first time, they want to find out all about your company, your products. They want to find out a little bit more about you, and vice versa. It's important that you also find out a lot about them, their company, what it is they need. Maybe you want to find out something that the buyer likes. Might be rugby or tennis or football, whatever it is. Make sure that you break that ice and that you do find out what it is that they want. Because once you're in the door, it's very difficult to exclude a lot of the distractions that are going on in the buyer's mind. This buyer is busy summing you up. And I'm sure if you're the salesperson or the business development person, you're doing exactly the same. But meet with the right guys and prepare for these meetings. Now, one of the other mistakes a lot of people make is they don't arrive on time. They arrive a few minutes late. They're all sweaty and out of breath. It's not a good look, people. Arrive on time and don't be out of breath or sweaty when you meet with a customer for the first time. That's a huge no-no. Don't arrive too early and disturb them. They might be in another meeting or busy with something else. So arrive 5 minutes ahead of time. That gives you a bit of time to settle down and just ponder things. You know, what's going to happen today and how you're going to do it. Run through it in your head again quickly. And then another very, very important mistake that sales and business development people make is they're just not properly attired and presented. Now, first impressions count for a lot. I can tell you this from experience. If you don't look the part, there's a good chance, that you're going to put the buyer off right from the beginning before you even open your mouth. So be well groomed, be well presented, suitably attired, and just look the part. So when you get in front of the customer, make sure that you have a decent preparation, a decently prepared presentation about your company, and know everything about the product or service that you're wanting to sell. Now, it's important, I know, sometimes to tell them about the features of your product or your service. However, what's ultimately going to sell your product is not features, but benefits. So get those benefits across during your presentation, and make sure you do a recap on those benefits and reinforce them again before you leave. Another common mistake people make is they don't listen properly. So you go in there and the buyer is giving you a lot of information, a lot of clues, and you're not listening properly. Maybe you're distracted by something that you shouldn't be distracted by. So when you're not listening properly, they might be asking you questions that you can't answer. They've already given you some clues and information, but because you haven't been listening properly, you stumble a bit. And buyers are astute. They pick this up. Not a good look, folk, when you don't listen properly. While you're meeting with people, take some notes. It's a known fact that when you walk out of a meeting, if you haven't taken facts, literally within a few minutes, you start forgetting things that actually happened during the meeting. So very, very important to take copious notes while you're in meetings so that you can remember things. And also, you have to note actions. If there's something you can't answer, something you don't know, it's important that you note that down as an action so that you can get back to the customer with an appropriate answer as soon as possible. And I mean that. Get back to them quickly. Don't waste time. One of the other common mistakes is that you walk into a meeting room, you might be the last one to walk into the room, and you forget to close the door. And behind you, there are a lot of people going back and forth. That's a distraction. The other thing you might have forgotten is to switch your cell phone off. So during the meeting, there's a lot of beep, 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 messages coming through. The phone might ring. And this is a major distraction for your buyer. They want your total attention, and they don't want any distractions like that. I know sometimes it's irritating because the buyer's phone might go off during the meeting, or sometimes somebody comes into the meeting and disturbs the proceedings. Look, that does happen, but learn to cope with that. If something like that does happen, just stop talking, let them carry on, sort things out, and then when that distraction has gone, you can continue. One of the other irritating things is that a lot of salespeople actually have poor product knowledge. They don't know everything about their product, and this is very irritating for buyers. Nowadays, you need to have all the information at your fingertips. I know everything's on the internet, on a website, a product bulletin. It doesn't matter. If you're selling a product or a service, you need to know everything about your product. If you don't, there's a good chance they're going to start doubting you. And once they doubt you, it'll be very difficult to actually convince them to do a deal with you. Another important thing that's often done, and it's a big no-no, do not bag competitors. Out there in the marketplace, there are a lot of competitors. Some are good, some are bad, some do good things, some do bad things, but never ever harp on the bad things your competitors are doing. It's not going to be a good look for you. It's going to destroy your credibility. And, once again, you're going to create some doubt in the buyer's mind. And while you're meeting with people, you're trying to establish trust and credibility. So be fluent, listen well, take notes, Note all the actions that you have to do afterwards and actually end up doing them. Because if you make a promise in business, you have to keep that promise. One of the other things, a lot of salespeople, business development people are very energetic and enthusiastic, and they do a lot of talking and a lot of telling, but not that much selling. So here's a hint. Listen well when the buyer speaks. Pick up on all the clues, ask appropriate questions, but don't do too much babbling. It's better to listen in these meetings than it is to talk too much. If you talk too much, there's a good chance they probably won't want to see you next time, because you're wasting, very valuable time. And these people are busy. Trust me, I know you're busy as well with your sales and your business development, but buyers are also incredibly busy, and they've given you an opportunity to provide a solution to their problem. But if you're going to be babbling a lot of nonsense and trying to bamboozle them, it's just not going to work, folk. So rather listen than talk too much. Another very common mistake is that once you leave the meeting, there are follow-ups that have to be done. If you don't follow up quickly, I can assure you there's a good chance they're not going to do business with you. So if you have 10 actions, and a lot of them involve questions that they've asked you that possibly you could not answer during the meeting, it's a very good idea to find that information out very quickly, whether you have to meet with your finance team, your manager, your operations colleagues, R&D, quality assurance, whoever it is that you're meeting with, logistics people. Get the answers chop chop. And I would suggest you make another meeting to front up personally. So face to face to give them the answers. If that's not possible, I would suggest a call. Give them a call and, try and get hold of them and give them the answers they need. Number 3, put it all in an email to them as well. So either that face-to-face meeting to convey what you couldn't during your original meeting, all the actions, or a phone call, but afterwards you do need to email it through to them as well. So those are some of the most common mistakes salespeople make. So folk, I hope these pointers help you, and I'm sure that if you follow that sales process properly and avoid these common mistakes that sales and business development people make, there's a very good chance you're going to do a deal in your next meeting.